Hey everyone, Lee Papa, Rude Pundit here. As you know, because we talked about it just last week, barely human Florida Governor Ron DeSantis is running for president. And his platform is about one thing: turning back the clock on any progress made in racial, gender, or sexual issues in the last 60 years. Now, Florida is going to be stone cold murdered by the climate crisis, but DeSantis doesn't give a shit about that. He's more concerned with whether or not a white child might be sad when they hear that racism is bad and that white people are to blame for it, or that the worst thing you can do to a child is not, let guns be in schools or do nothing about guns. Oh, no, no, no. The worst thing you can do is let them know that gay and trans people exist, because it will obviously immediately turn them trans or gay. I'm not even exaggerating this stupid shit. And it all falls under the umbrella of woke, a word that's supposed to mean aware that some people are treated like shit, and maybe you want to do something about it. But DeSantis seems to want it to mean shit that I can use to make white people mad at shit that doesn't matter to their real lives. Well, because DeSantis has the personality of an old oyster trying not to get tossed back into the ocean, he's now deploying his allegedly charming wife, Casey, to do the dirty messaging for him. And a video of that message came out late last week. The group calls itself Mamas for DeSantis, and it's some of the most paranoid, fear-mongering bullshit I've seen in a while. So let's watch it together, huh?
In America, we've witnessed a lot and put up with enough.
You guys gotta go.
Let's go. He is arresting her for being on a public playground.
Okay. I'm going to pause there, and I'm sorry. I'm going to pause quite a few times on this because it's really just kind of up. So that actual moment there is from Idaho during the lockdown in 2020. It makes it look like, this mom is just being randomly arrested for bringing her kids to the park. No, park playgrounds had been locked down because they didn't want kids getting sickness all over them during the early days of COVID. This is going to be a repeated thing with DeSantis. And even in this video, that for some reason back then in 2020, we somehow magically knew what COVID was really all about. And it wasn't just that people were dropping dead left and right. But let's keep going.
Our kids are here.
We've been forced into silence.
Look at that. Look, oh no, they're putting on the mask.
Into compliance.
Oh, God. COVID masks are the worst thing ever.
Told that we must trust the science.
Look at that evil Dr. Fauci.
Should be closed.
We've been told that we must deny truth, back down, and look the other way.
Okay, I just want to point out here that this thing right here of this little girl coming up to some people involved in what would be puppy or dog play. Those are masks that are generally for a kind of fetish play. And, you couldn't sit there and go and judge and go, oh my God, how could you do that? How could you let your adorable little child see that? How are you going to explain it to them? Well, one, that's really up to the parent, isn't it? Isn't it really up to the fucking parent to do that? And two, again, as I said before, I would rather have to explain that to a child than explain why we did nothing to stop people from having automatic rifles that they could bring into schools to shoot up kids her age. Or even worse, those pictures you see of all of those Republicans whose families proudly stand around with a bunch of guns, just looking like this is what makes them a happy family, to be on the verge of mass murder all the time. But sure. The little girl going up to the people that are doing the dog play, that's really the problem.
Enough is enough. When you come after our kids, we fight back. Because there's nothing we won't do to protect our children.
That, by the way, not the little girl, but the woman in there. That's Casey DeSantis, just in case you were wondering. And it's interesting that they have the image of Ron DeSantis pre-Ozempic, which is, you know, he's slimmed down a bit since then.
They're not yours.
These are our kids.
Our nation's children are all our children.
You could refer back to my video 2 weeks ago to see what total bullshit this "we're coming for your children" thing is. And I love the idea that, you know, they're not your kids, they're our kids. Don't do anything for our kids. And, you know, you're coming after our kids. And it's like, yeah, but you know what? Here's the thing, is there's a whole lot of people who could now say, you're coming after their kids. You're coming after their trans kids. You're coming after their queer kids. You're coming after their kids that maybe want to learn the truth about history. You're coming after a lot of different kids, but sure, your kids are the only ones that matter here.
Will not allow you to exploit their innocence to advance your agenda. We are no longer silent. We are united, and we have finally found our fighter.
We're not going to let you impose an agenda on our kids. We're going to stand up for our kids.
He'll do for America what he did for us in Florida.
As I said, Florida is facing just the worst catastrophe in with the climate crisis. I mean, Florida is facing right now, the water temperature in parts of Florida has reached 90 degrees. The water has reached 90 degrees. Do you know what that does? Do you know that if a hurricane, any storm actually, but if a hurricane comes up right now, it is going to explode. It is going to explode in strength. And that really doesn't matter. That doesn't matter because, you know, somebody might get gender affirming care in Florida.
Schools open. Parents' rights defended. School choice universal. Critical race theory prohibited. DEI stopped. Child mutilation illegal.
Again, something that needs to be said is that it already is banned for there to be any kind of genital surgery related to trans kids. If it happens, it's so extraordinarily rare and for the most particular of circumstances. These are all lies. And, you know, getting rid of DEI, diversity, equity, and inclusion, that's what they want to keep calling it DEI because the initials, they sound evil. But if you keep saying, oh, no, we want to get rid of diversity, that might make some of those suburban moms go, oh, I don't really mind diversity. And that's actually come out in some polls. But, you know, let's finish this. Let's see where this goes. Because, you know, they have a hero now. Mamas have a hero. And their hero is Ron DeSantis.
Girls' sports saved. Communities protected. Our economy growing. And freedom guaranteed.
But winning the fight in Florida is just the beginning. We must protect parents' rights and the innocence of our children. We must restore sanity in our society. We need every mama and every grandmama in every corner of the country to stand up and fight back by electing Ron DeSantis President of the United States of
Jesus Christ. She's scary looking. I mean, it's been a while since we've seen painted eyebrow insanity like this. I mean, it's at least a Sarah Palin or a Michelle Bachmann ago.
America. Join us by texting mamas to 512345.
Look, there's a lot I could say about this video. There's a lot I could say about the supposed facts presented in there. You know, for instance, DeSantis declared a state of emergency for Florida in March or April 2020. He locked down the state. He did that. He actually had one of the most draconian interstate policies. If you were somebody coming from Louisiana, you had to quarantine for 14 days if you wanted to enter Florida. And it was like that for many people entering Florida during the height of the pandemic. Mask mandates, something he signed off on. And he did this because the hospitals were overwhelmed. The hospitals were collapsing. In fact, he activated retired hospital and medical personnel so that the hospitals wouldn't collapse. I mean, it wasn't that long ago. And as for Casey DeSantis, I know we're supposed to be nice to her because she survived breast cancer, but I wonder how many LGBTQ plus medical personnel made sure that she got better, only for her to recover and then decide to make their lives miserable. But then again, I guess if my reward for beating cancer is getting to live with Ron DeSantis, I might be a little pissy about things too. All right. See you next week.